All right, my friends, welcome back to the SBL. I am still AJ0, and they did it. They pressed the button. Thank goodness. I was getting worried. I'm AJ0. I am here with most expensive microphone west of the Mississippi, Mr. Elcad.
Barely west of the Mississippi, if anything.
Well,
That's like 20 miles away.
Yeah, it's not far, but west is west.
It's probably more than that. But you're right. You're right. How are you doing, Mr. Senior Engineer? CSE 3, CSTS.
I am a senior indeed. In my old age, I've gathered a lot of casting wisdom, and what I know from all those years of wisdom is that it is really hard to play a back-to-back game after losing a game like High Expectations just lost. A 53-minute heartbreaker is a great performance from Zed Sweaty Asol, proving that they are intent to make this a very interesting SBL season. And now High Expectations have to come back and play their second consecutive game of the night. And they are going up against a team that has not shown that much life through the first round robin. Tizzy and the Smash Bros, who had a just disaster of a week last week, if we're being honest.
Their week one was all right. Like, I mean, there was a reason that Tizzy and a few others from there were highly talked about in the baddie breakdown, that we were promoting them a little bit, that we said they were doing better than we initially expected. But yeah, last week they just looked like the train fell off the tracks a little bit. They didn't really do a whole lot, and they just kind of fell apart. But I think if you're going to be in any situation where you're going to be happy to play against a team
real quick, I'm going to interrupt you because I just upped your volume a bit. Chat, let me know how that sounds.
Okay.
Keep going.
All right. I think if you're in any situation where you're going to be happy to play against a team that has some of the best players overall, it's right after, like you said, coming out of a 53-minute fiesta fuckfest of a game that they just played and lost. I think you love to see it if you're on the side of Tizzy and the Smash Bros.
Yeah, curious to see how it will play out here, as they are still keeping that really high priority on the Annie as well as the Nocturne, which was banned in the last game. That's been a 10 years strong pick and ban for Mr. Splinter himself. So no surprise this year on the side of High Expectations.
Absolutely.
Looking at the side of Tizzy and the Smash Brothers, the one thing I want to highlight here, Chai Tea Drinker still in the lineup. I know it was a really just bad week for their bottom lane last week on those back-to-back losses. I heard there were some whisperings about whether we were going to see Chai this week, or they were maybe going to give Candy Jack a try at the supports. But I'm personally happy to see Chai in there. I know he's trying really hard to make some improvements. Did some coaching sessions with multiple players last week. And I straight up asked Thrifty right before games tonight. I was like, hey, is Chai playing tonight? He's like, yeah. I was like, was it ever up for consideration? And he implied that they were still confident that there's a reason that they were giving Chai a chance, and they're going to give him a chance to go through some of those growing pains, because they didn't lose 2 games because of Chai last week.
No, absolutely. And I had heard through the grapevine a little bit that part of the reason that Chai looked so out of sorts in game 1, which kind of snowballed into the mental that he had going into game 2, was the fact that he apparently requested that Thresh be banned on the side of Flex Panther, didn't get it, and then got hit by, like 6 hooks just during laning alone, and then just kind of lost all semblance of what it means to be a human with a brain.
Yeah, it was a rough lane phase for him. So we'll see here. He is going to be going up against an inconsistent bottom lane in 30 and Tuesday, I feel like. I'm curious to see how it goes, as we've got some solo lane bans. So we got the rarity here. Darius being banned by the team that just played it in their last game shows how much fear of God the Chop Man's Darius puts into this league all these years later.
Absolutely. I also like to see, we didn't touch on it during the first rounds of bans here, but Cax eating the Zac ban, respecting definitely his best jungler. What do you think of him on the Wukong?
Yeah, we'll see. I'm not ruling. It's almost assuredly in the jungle because it's really strong in the jungle, but like if they swap that to Chop Man, I wouldn't be like, oh my god, how in the world has it ever happened? Wukong, it's a similar champion to Zac. You press all your movement buttons, you go all the way to the enemy backline, you try to kill the backline. You have a lot of movement and CC to help you in doing so. You're knocking people up, etc. Similar play style. I think it's a similar pick. And especially in the SBL, like just picking team fighty wombo combo is usually the easiest way to execute. So I like that. But one champ with no wombo nor combo is going to be Garen coming out from the Chop Man.
Now, we did see Garen really get ahead for Chopman in Game 2 last week for them. He was able to get a sizable CS lead. He started off with, what, like a 4-0-0 scoreline before doing absolutely fucking nothing for the rest of the team the remaining duration of the game. However, I feel a lot more confident in the rest of the team comp surrounding him this time, and I think I was talking to Tizzy a little bit during the week, and she's feeling very confident on the Ashe. She said it was playing really well for her, that she's going to be able to take that and maybe play a little bit safer, use it to control the other bot lane a little bit more, as opposed to the Kai'Sa, like you were pointing out during the previous game, where you're supposed to be there to be the incredibly high damage mobile, I'm going to teleport to the bottom of river and fuck you up unless you're, you know, John trying to kill 30, then you might fuck up. But I think she's going to feel a lot more comfortable on this, and I think that bodes well for what that means for the team playing around Dario on this, especially with Thrifty on the Cassiopeia.
Yeah, it's an interesting comp for Tizzy and the Smash Brothers here. The Garen pick is maybe the most key thing, because like so much about this comp relies on Garen just getting big in lane and snowballing. So Chopman is happy to be that guy, and I think he knows that he has the skill that he can do that to the bad boy. So we'll see if he does do that in this game. One thing that we haven't even touched on yet, these two teams literally just played last week, and it was a absolute train wreck for Tizzy and the Smash Brothers. We're talking about how their last week went without referencing the fact that it was these two teams that played.
Very true.
And I think one of the big reasons why we're seeing this Wukong pick on Cax is because the Wukong was probably the most important pick that High Expectations had in their roster last week. And like, this is draft. Sometimes you have to first pick things to take them away because you can't ban them all. But just gonna be trading one evil out for another here.
Oh, 100%. And that actually leads me to a question that I have. One of the things that we noticed in the game last week with these two teams was the fact that Wes basically just fucked Thrifty up to the point where he was completely irrelevant for the rest of the game. I mean, being on the TF in that situation where you're getting heavily pressured like that and you're not able to properly exploit your ultimate to really, you know, go around the map, help out help out your top lane that's getting ahead, shore up for your bot lane that's getting their assholes destroyed. But with Wes's focus being on Thrifty last week, where do you think he's going to be going with the Nocturne? You know, notoriously an early game focused champion that wants to get in there and hit 6, hit R, and fuck somebody up. Where do you think we're going to see him try and impact the map the most?
Yeah, we'll see what he ends up doing as I turn you up a little bit here. I said this last game, I would like to see him do the top 2 bot pathing in the jungle on his early clears and see if he can get that early pressure going on the bot lane. I think Chai and Tizzy are just, you know, we saw last week. If you are against Chai and Tizzy, you can win through bot lane. And so absolutely. I think you should go for that. You know, it's an immobile AD carry in Ashe, immobile support for what it's worth in Nautilus here. I think you just tell the bad boy not to lose, and you try to play for mid and bot lane and try to get the 6 as early as possible. Catch the spot lane with their pants down at some point and get big, get the darkness rolling.
No, 100%. What do you think of the early game pressure that that we're going to be able to see out of the Tristana and Annie? I mean, you know, with the Annie, you have another champion that's really focused on that level 6 spike point. Maybe we see a little bit of a combination with the Nocturne meeting up in bottom, like you said, trying to win through bottom lane. I guess I'm not as familiar with Tuesday's performance on Tristana. Have we seen that in any recent time that we have anything to base off of?
Oh, let me look. I want to say no, but I've got the games right here off screen if I can find them. So Tuesday, I mean, he's played a lot of champions this season, which is normal. So he did play Tristana. Oh yeah, how could I forget? 11-1-9 against Flex Panther in week 1. Had that massive Tristana game where he was doing week everything 1. Right.
Yep.
So that's our frame of reference there. I will say, from the perspective of Tizzy and the Smash Brothers, I do kind of like going against the Tristana. One of the biggest things with Tristana is you will never freeze the lane, because you have you last hit things that explodes. You are always pushing the lane to some extent, and one of the ways we see less skilled lanes get into trouble is they accidentally give the enemy team a freeze when they're at a disadvantage already, and it's this really, like, you have to bring teammates into the play to kind of break the situation. You're going to be panicking. Not good. Not going to happen against Tristana is what I'm saying here.
No, I think we definitely take that. Like I said, as far as from the side of, Tizzy and the Smash Bros, that we're looking, I feel like this is kind of gone all in the direction that they wanted it to. We do have kind of a weird comp, like you were pointing out before. We are a little bit focused on the top lane with the Garen, but I think ultimately from how that team really wants to play the game and how their game went against High Expectations last week, I want to say they've got to be walking into this feeling pretty comfortable.
Yeah, we are in game and immediately into a pause, it looks like here. Splinter. Dude, can I rant about this guy? Yes, I can, because it's my fucking league. He was my teammate last season, and he would do this shit all the time. He would, like, go through the draft and then be like, okay, I'm going to run to the bathroom while we're loading. You had 10 minutes between these games, you fucking mongrel. This is Splinter's scandal.
What a fucking degenerate. What time are you at, by the way? I just want to
we
make
are
sure we're synced up here.
28, 29, 30 seconds on the clock.
Perfect. We are perfect.
So, nothing too exciting happening at level 1 here besides Master Splinter still being in this fountain at 38 seconds here. Again, and this is a disadvantage. Like, just to be very clear, I'm not calling them out because I think it is dumb. This is literally a disadvantage for your team. You're giving up information. You're not being punished for this disadvantage, but you are at a disadvantage. And given that disadvantage typically only ever affects the jungler at level 1, I'm surprised he doesn't pee 5 minutes earlier. It drove me fucking insane last season.
Look, maybe the man has a small bladder.
Maybe he's got to pee like between the games and after the draft. I don't know. This man's usually having a couple of beers while he plays, so could be.
He's a dad. He's getting to that age. Maybe he needs to go, get checked out. Frequent peeing. I'm just saying.
We'll never know. So everyone did remember to start with items this game. Both the junglers starting on the bot side. Going to do a bot to top clear, and we are in. Nothing too crazy here.
No, not too much happening yet. I am so looking forward to watching Thrifty Senpai in the mid on the Cassiopeia here. I love to see him on this champion. I love his ults are so routinely good on it, being able to lock down the enemy team and just set the rest of his team up for success. Love watching him do it. I do not know, though, especially since I've definitely not seen it in pro play, which is what I watch way more often than, a bunch of these types of games. How does the Cassio open to the Gragas work?
I honestly, you don't see a lot of Gragas mid. That is a very best this one kind of champ to play. I would expect it to be a pretty passive lane. Best this one's gonna have a lot of setup for ganks, with the CC layering available. As oh no, I just taught them about this. You have to respect the level 2, and it's going to force a heal out of Chai to barely keep Tizzy alive. But this is one of the big things. So I just did a bot review session with Chai last week, right? He was really trying to learn a lot after just really being welcome to the SBL last week. And one of the key things I told him, I was like, you look like you don't think about who hits level 2 first, which is one of the corest plays in the bot lane.
Yep.
But that's a 2-man job. And Tizzy made a lot of mistakes last week as well. And it looks like these two just not ready for it. And Chai, I'm happy we could hammer this lesson home for you, but now they are at a massive disadvantage in this bot lane.
Yep, it's one of those situations where they're just going to have to sit here, try and recover all that health that they lost. We see that, Tizzy already blowing the pot, like you mentioned, and her... Yeah, already blowing the pot, and again, we expect the bot lane to be the focus coming out of High Expectations. We expect that to be one of Wes's early targets, really trying to win through there.
Their only solace right now is that Splinter did start on the bot side, so he's a far way away, but he is smartly going to go for that bottom crab here, not the top crab, and see if anything will be set up in this bot lane. Remember, 30 he has his flash available, flash, stuns, ignites. There will be a hawk shot that will scud up Master Splinter. That's actually really
very nice
from Tizzy.
That's very, very well played by Tizzy. And I think, and when I was talking to her, she kind of mentioned the amount of control, visibility, and awareness that she felt that she had on the Ashe that she was missing on the Kai'Sa. So already seeing that pay dividends as well.
So we'll see here, despite everything, not a lot of CS being dropped in this lane. Again, this is actually one of those key reasons why it's kind of fortunate they're against the Tristana in the bot lane, because it's really hard for Tristana to manipulate the wave and make it hard for you to get your CS. Like, you're going to be towards the enemy tower.
Absolutely. We saw Cax hanging out a little bit in River there. Didn't amount to anything, but my God, the trading coming out here from Dario Chapman, kind of to be expected. But
yeah, I mean, that was really good. I mean, he was down a level for that entire trade. He did not give a shit. Like, that just shows that the advantage the Chopman has up there.
That's a very classic Chopman move, not giving a shit about what's actually happening, being more concerned with what he believes that he can do.
Yeah, now there's going to be a big wave pushing towards Bad Boy's tower up top. You should be able to mop up a decent amount of that and even out some of that CS deficit that is temporary, but he will still be down even after he mops all this up. And you can see he is respecting the hell out of Cax's. I do not think Cax has shown on any vision for a while.
I think we saw Cax. Did we see him? I missed exactly his pathing through the mid lane.
Yeah.
I didn't know if he walked just a little bit too far in front of the tower that he would have been spotted by the red side.
It was close. See these teams backing off here. So Molly gonna go for a maybe a ward, but again another good good hawk shot up as Dragon is going to be the ward dropped by 30 here.
You like to see it. I mean, trying to take what advantage you can out of having your lane pushed and getting the early advantage that you got yourself, getting that extra vision on the Dragon. We are starting to see a little bit of, you know, we've been the CS difference between Garen and Shen up there in the top lane. Basically the only substantial difference on the map. Gold basically even at this point, kind of to be expected with how we expected these teams to play out.
And Shotman definitely trying to push the advantage, even though the lane was pushed. He did use his teleport to get back to lane. He wants to force Bad Boy to teleport on bad timing here, as he's going to get this lane shoved. He's going to win some trades, and now Bad Boy is going to have to take a bad timing on a back at some point. And we're going to see here, this is going to really, I think, draw Splinter towards the top lane a bit, because he needs to respect what the Scared's doing.
No, absolutely. We see that a little bit, him working his way up river right now. Spotted out, clearing the ward on the part of Thrifty Senpai. Is he going to be met here by Dario Chapman trying to get up, though?
Yeah, Shen ulting from a few feet away just to put a shield down. He's going to taunt his way out. And Chapman, are you serious?
Oh my fucking God!
First blood for the Mad Cow.
We get the flash, we get the dunk out of Chopman. You love to see it. Even with the support from Master Splinter coming in, it didn't matter.
Yeah, that was rough. Using his defensive tools a little too early there, not realizing how much threat he was under. And now the Chopman is going.
Exactly what we want to see from the side of Tizzy and the Smash Bros. That little bit of an early advantage. Taking out, and now we also have Splinter just hitting 6, being in base. Bot lane is no longer pushed in. They're sitting much more comfortably. Their health is very comfortable. I don't believe they have backed yet, if I'm paying attention correctly. So we're just kind of at a little bit of a deadlock.
One thing that's back here, it may not matter. Tizzy is being engaged upon this bomb is going to pop. The ignite is going to tick, and Tuesday is going to pop that bitch like a balloon, putting himself on the board.
Well, there's the fucking caster curse for you.
I was just going to say, it's really, one thing that was big about that top fight is they got both the teleport and the ult from Bad Boy. And rank 1 Shen ult is a very long cooldown, which means that they won't be able to go for any of those like Shen Nocturne, like super scary plays that this comp is going to want to do. For, you know, they've still got probably over a minute before that Shen ult comes up. But if you just lane kill them, it doesn't matter. You set up the dragon, and it's the first dragon of the game taken here by high expectations.
Yep, very easy, you know, very easy play to make. You get the kill bot lane, you make your way up, you take advantage of the situation that you've created, but at the same time, you like to see the decisiveness, immediately moving to the dragon, immediately taking that, trading where they can on the map. Do you think we're in for another long game, Swift? Are you going to be able to handle that if we get to that situation again?
I'm feeling in good form. This truly is my flu game. So
all right, we'll take that. I appreciated that reference, by the way. I think it's a deep cut for those in the chat that don't pay attention to a lot of
it's probably a deep cut for the Baddie League. I don't think it's a deep cut for average.
Oh God, no.
Probably one of the more famous games anyone's ever played. Here we are, 9 minutes in. Gold fairly even. Let's take a peek at the gold differences between the players. 1,100 is the gold lead for the Chopman. Some smaller leads at the other positions on the side of high expectations.
You know, it's playing out basically exactly like we thought it would. Maybe a little less focus on the bot lane than we were initially thinking from the get-go, but we see Chopman getting ahead early. He's established the most significant CS lead on the map. He's got the biggest gold lead.
And I was going to say, it's still very early, though, because this is ultimately
absolutely
a comp about the Shen Nocturne ults, and that Hawk shot is not going to see Nocturne. Shen ult just came off cooldown.
Ooh.
They want to force something here. 30 does not have a flash, but he has a stun, and this wave is pushing. Will Chai and Tizzy push forward?
You see him playing a little bit safe here. They look a little unsure as to exactly what they want to do. Chopman's got his eyes on the Shen. And we just see the Nocturne go back. Yep. Not going to see that wombo combo as of yet.
Little too far backwards there to pull anything off, fortunately, for the side of high expectations. So I'm curious to see if we just see Splinter going towards the top side. I'm curious if we'll see any plays around the Rift Herald, as we've still got a few minutes before the Dragon becomes available, as Cax and Thrifty are on the top side, but Splinter is more on the top side as they're dropping some damage on the Chopman, but he is a tanky chopper, and now here's Thrifty Senpai looking for the slows, looking for the ult, looking for the dots, looking for the double.
Get him on the dive.
And Chopman, that could be a costly mistake. Chopman was trying to greed that kill, but Thrifty is not done in here. As fast as one's gonna walk into him, I think he's gonna have to be disengaged here. But that was a costly mistake by Chopman. He didn't need to die.
Absolutely. No, I think we would have had him either way. We've got a good amount of damage coming down from Thrifty Senpai with that poison, taking down on the Gragas as he's trying to hide under the tower. But ultimately, while it is definitely a mistake, it should not have happened. I think you're still happy to take that on the side of Tizzy and the Smash Bros.
Yeah, overall a win. You've got both of your carries rolling at this point. If we look at the gold here, not a huge gold lead on Thrifty because Bestis is up on CS currently, but it is still a huge fucking lead on Chopman.
That 1-1 and 2 stat line is going to haunt him until his dying days.
That's a very Chopman. Oh, did Tizzy just walk too far forward? The answer is dangerously. It is a yes. And Tizzy with her second death just from the laning phase here.
Honestly, this lane kind of looks like Tizzy's just not used to playing against either Annie and or Tristana. She looks like she's not respecting the burst that they have. She's not respecting the amount of just lockdown stun CC that 30's able to represent with the Annie. She's playing a little bit too far up. She gets stunned and popped, and then there's so much after damage from the Tristana that even when she's able to walk away, it just ultimately doesn't matter.
And it's rough because it's not like 30's going for like these crazy flash Tibbers plays to really catch her off guard. I mean, it's just he's walking into range. But speaking of walking into range, Splinter is going to walk into range as fast as he Knocky Turn can, and Chopman's going to try to trade some damage down here, not going to successfully do so. SBL Bad Boy going to get his first kill of the game.
Pretty painful series of trades here for the side of Tizzy and the Smash Bros. You just don't want to see it. Oh, and we see, was that the crab stolen away by Bestis one there?
Good work, Bestis. He's a guy, I think he's played jungle in the SBL at some point. This man's played so many things. This man could play jungle.
Fair enough.
So, despite the 2-0 on Thrifty, he is currently down a level. That should only last for a second here. Bestis one is getting moderately tanky from level stats here as Dragon spawns in 2 seconds. Cax is pathing towards it. Splinter is on the other side of the map. Maybe is looking at Shelly up there.
I know we were talking about the Wukong pick being a way to keep Wes off of the Wukong because of how impactful it has been. We haven't seen shit all from the Wukong on the side of Tizzy and the Smash Bros.
It's definitely
very, very unimpactful.
Good flash from 30 there. It has to respect the Ash Arrow coming out. And that's actually really huge because Annie is such a scary champ with her flash available there. And Tizzy and Chai really need all the wins they can get. But no, back to Cax. You are definitely right. Wukong is a very... He wants to gank you early. He wants to gank you often. He wants to gank you constantly all game long. And not only has he really not been a part of any of these fights, but like he's also down on CS. He's just being completely lapped here by Master Splinter, who's also taken, you know, like a Rift Herald and is now like setting up for his team's second Dragon of the game. Just an absolute masterclass from the Splinter here on one of his all-time best champs.
Absolutely. And we've seen 2 gank attempts out of Splinter. One went significantly better than the other one, and we've just seen nothing out of Cax. Again, the Zach ban working out very well for any team that goes up against Tizzy in the Smash Bros. I think he's really going to have to, if he wants to succeed, especially in the SBL, in 5v5 League of Legends, I think he's going to need to work on some of those alternative champ picks that he's going to have to put together.
Yeah, I definitely, this feels like a welcome to the SBL moment for him. Oh, I love this decision on a Splinter. Rotates towards the mid laner. Best is going to slow folks down. They're going to nearly take this tower. Cax going to actually force a flash out of Splinter. That was a very respectful one. Splinter does not want to make any mistakes around this dragon here.
Is that the inverse of the caster curse, where I talk about wanting to see at least a little bit of action out of one of the players, and then we see him come in, respond to the Rift Herald, and get them off, prevent that tower from going down, and get a flash out?
Yeah, it's something like that.
I guess we take it.
Yeah. But speaking of taking it, Splinter going to go take the dragon here. There is no contest in the neighborhood. That is going to be a second dragon here. His high expectations. In a good spot, but this is still an essentially even game here. You know, if we take a peek at the gold again, Tuesday's gold lead we haven't talked about in a bit has gotten bigger.
But we see the 41 CS difference as of right now between Garen and Shen in the top lane there. Dario Chapman, even with the dumb and then the gank death that he did have, still flexing his ability to dominate that lane. Let's hope he can turn it into something and not have, like I was talking about before, the same situation from the other game where he got ahead on Garen and then the rest of the team fell apart. And actually, it was against this team, wasn't it?
It was.
He played Garen into high expectations.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Garen Shen last week. Yeah, it was Garen Shen because Chopman. Or it was definitely Shen. I didn't look at it. It was Garen. I'm almost positive it was Garen Shen. That was the game where Bad Boy got like Flame Horizon like horrifically early. Like it was awful from a CS perspective, and Bad Boy was telling us on Discord that at least he didn't die. But here we go. Chopman gonna be pressured here. Has to flash her defensively. Still gonna take the fear, but there's gonna be no dive available. A worth-ish ult from Master Splinter.
Absolutely. You take getting the flash out of the Garen there, getting a little bit of reprieve for your Shen in the top lane. But I think you're also okay with that from the side of Dario Chapman. You know, being able to survive yet another Nocturne ult on top of him in an attempt to kill him, getting a good trade onto SBL Bad Boy right
here. Here we go. The slow's coming down on the best. Just want to ghost out of Thrifty. That's going to force a defensive. Oh, and Cax, you need to run with your team there. An absolutely inexplicable decision making. And that maybe is going to cost Thrifty Senpai his life. The good teammate will die for his crimes. Ooh. And this might not be over here because Chopman is coming in. He wants to find some kills, but Chopman, you have balls bigger than your body can handle. And that is going to be a 1-3 on the Chopman. Going to turn into a tower take. Just the awful sequence of events for Tizzy and the Smash Bros.
That is a gigantic yikes. And we see just the advantage that Mr. Tuesday and 30 were able to get in the bottom lane, allowing them to very easily rotate up. Likely the Chopman would have died anyway from that overly aggressive Brandon-style teleport, but them having the advantage in the bot lane, allowing them to just casually walk up, meet that, and ensure that he did die for his sins.
Yeah, now we finally have the play that's going to blow this game open a bit, and now the pressure is going to be on the side of Tizzy and the Smash Bros to stop the bleeding. They're going to lose this bot tier 1 as well, and this is going to turn into a very tense game here because it's really hard for them to choose what to do from here. Losing all that pressure in the mid lane it makes it so hard to hold on to your map. It's going to be so easy for high expectations to go clear out wards in any side of the jungle, control past the river, and just scare the team out of farming while looking for plays. Also, because if you push too far forward, there's a Nocturne Shen that can both ult in on you.
Absolutely. We are not in a good situation for Tizzy. And you're talking about vision. Let's take a look at the minimap real quick. We see some deep vision in from the side of high expectations, getting them some visibility into the bot side of the jungle. But we see absolutely nothing from Tizzy's team in any jungle. Oh, excuse me. They have 2 wards on the blue side on blue buff side on the red side, but other than that, they are completely blind, and that's not a situation that you want to be in when you're constantly scared about the impactful ults that you were just talking about.
Yes, the next thing to keep an eye on here, a minute 10 on the Dragon spawn. High Expectations already has 2, so they're going to be playing for that. And if they can get a pick first, they'll be plenty happy to do it. Thrifty, though, does get a nice ult here. There's a lot of damage burning onto Mr. Tuesday, but they don't quite finish him off. Can they get onto this Tristana? No, they cannot. Shy is trying to sell out for it, and he is going to lose his life in the process. And if they couldn't kill the Tristana there, is there anything that could possibly go right for this team? Shy, oh, he's running as far as he can. Mad Cow wants to go for a flank, and now maybe Chopman is gonna, nope, Tuesday's gonna jump out. That's a 0-4-3 here in favor of High Expectations.
Big fucking oof. We talked about how good Tuesday was.
Chopman,
I'll wait to talk. Let's see if
did
Splinter's
you
coming in
really
here on
think
top,
you
man.
could just take those creeps and master Splinter's Summoner's Rift?
Oh, good lord. Well,
And fuck the dragon, they're gonna go take Baron.
oh, everything just got turned upside down. Over the series of these last 2 sequences that we've had, both that fight and then the fight right before with Shy leaving Thrifty out to dry.
Yeah,
We're
we're not going to have long because there is another fight coming here, and this is actually a super sketchy Baron for High Expectations. I'm actually kind of surprised they're committing to this. There is no ult available for Tizzy, and they need to zone Cax out as hard as they can, or they need to pick and choose to go for the fight. Look at some of these health bars as Baron is getting low. 30 is going to be the first to fall here, and now it is Chaos in the pit, secured by Master Splinter, but can they also get the fight? Splinter is down. Tuesday is in danger here, and he has no choice but to go forward, but he's big enough. His cock is huge. His damage is tight, and he's going to clean this one up.
And forward he goes. Once again, I want to take a little bit of time to rag on Cax a little bit more. We know how the Wukong needs to impact this game. We know that the Wukong needs to go in, needs to be able to ult, like you were talking about before, akin to the Zac, be able to get to the back line, pop somebody up, and be effective. Instead, we see him chase somebody off to the right side of Baron Pit, not re-enter until his team's almost already dead, and do effectively nothing in that fight. And once again, a classic Chopman. My cock is so gigantic I can go in wherever I want. Let's see if he gets punished for it.
Yeah, he's fortunately for him, there's no damage there, and he is at least stalling things to try to get his team in position to contest this dragon. But another taunt coming out here. That will buy some time for 30 to get
30's
close.
on his way.
And Shotman, gonna be Tibbers. He's gonna be burning. He will survive this one, but he has to reset out of it. Can this team do anything to secure the dragon? They're pulling us out.
Notably likely, the only reason he survives there is because of the Ash Arrow downtown from Tizzy, hitting 30, stopping him in his tracks. Maybe with a little bit more movement, he would have been able to catch up on him. But that's also a impactful ult that is down on the side of Tizzy in the Smash Bros.
Yeah, but all ultimately worth it is it did buy enough time for his team to get there. They contest, they take the dragon. They're going to slow down the dragon's soul on the side of High Expectations, get their first dragon of the game here, and keep their hopes alive of scaling and going late.
A very good take for them when you're in a situation where the entirety of the rest of the map is going poorly for you. You're down Drakes, you're down towers, you're down Baron, you're down kills. You take what you can get.
So we have finally a lull in the action here. 7,000 is the goal difference. Take a peek at these items here. I mean, just a massive, massive lead on Mr. Tuesday, who is massive, massive on this Tristana.
4-0-6, has the Kraken Slayer. 600 gold bounty on his head. You'd love to be able to secure that on the side of Tizzy in the Smash Bros. Doesn't look like, based on his ability to escape, basically every fight that is broken out, just really doesn't look like we're going to be in a situation. Bestest one coming on to Tizzy.
Tizzy,
hunting her down, ulting.
Absolute disaster decision-making from Tizzy, who's going to barely make it out with her life here. Oh, she's actually very lucky, but Bestest one's going to chase her down. And watch out, here comes the scariest flanker in the game. It's Tristana jumping over. Well, I'm not going to quite make it. Tizzy is going to be flashed on, but a arrow not enough to stop the Bestest one. The fadeaway Q. And I think we might see
so bad.
And this is kind of the second week in a row. I think this is going to be... Oh, maybe not. There's no tier 2 here. I expected this team to go a little harder, but I was wrong. But this is just some of the same mistakes we would see Tizzy make last week. We're just not respecting the map whatsoever. I don't know why she thought she could be that far forward with so many people missing. I mean, she was all the way up to the river with no tower there.
Yep. And you're behind, and basically every other lane, including your own lane, other than the Shen, is ahead of their lane counterparts. That's just not a situation that you can put yourself in.
Yeah, I mean, that just shows the pressure that this team is feeling. They know they're really far behind. They know they have to be getting farmed, and when you're feeling that pressure, you make more mistakes. But now, 30 gonna pop the Timbers, but he is going to maybe get caught here. He did not have anyone there to back him up. I think this team's gonna just walk out this one alone. I am curious about this flanking Gragas here. We'll see if anything actually happens on this fight. Maybe not.
A whole lot of nothing. I mean, when you're this far down, you just can't afford to chase in those situations. Unfortunately, they weren't able to get him caught out like they wanted. But again, we just don't see them working towards much of anything. We see an ult out of the Master Splinter
yeah,
coming in the Nocturne.
There is just, but everyone is just not able to get damage sticking out of this Tristana despite him being so aggressive with these jumps. And he's going for the carries, does not get hit by, no, he cleanses. No, he doesn't cleanse, he does not get hit by the Cassiopeia ult. 0 for 2 here. And I think this team is not done best. This one is a very, very tanky drunkard. They're gonna, oh my god, they're just doing so much damage here. Taking mid, they're gonna be diving bot in just a second.
I don't think they're gonna go in on it.
Yeah, I think they might not have got that one.
I think they're gonna lick what little wounds they have, go back, be very happy with what they've gotten here. But where the hell do Tizzy and the Smash Bros go from here? They're losing a tier 3. They're losing Inhib.
Ooh, this is gonna be close. I think Shotman is enough of a threat to with people right behind him to stop that one. So the base not quite cracked yet. And after some of the mistakes we've seen High Expectations make this season, they're not gonna bite off more than they can chew. They're gonna respect here. They're gonna get their resets. They're gonna probably set back up for Dragon.
It's incredible how much more controlled High Expectations looks like in this game as opposed to the previous Fiesta that they just got done playing. I think you can make the argument that God damn it, not Sweaty Asol, just a little bit stronger against the exact composition of High Expectations, but you don't see the same just tomfoolery fuckery that we saw out of them last game.
They're gonna try to pop this Garen. Garen's gonna blow everything just to try to maybe trade for a support kill there instead of putting any pressure onto the Tristana. And Mr. Tuesday is gonna keep moving forward here. We've got the bad boy on the flank by himself, forcing flashes out of the enemy team, and here comes Tristana. Nocturne turning out the lights, going in deep, getting the kill onto the Ashe, and this could potentially be the game over.
This looks like game to me. All we have left defending is Thrifty Senpai on the Cassiopeia. Everybody else is down for 20 to 30 seconds. I guess Chopman's up a little bit before that. But I think if they want to push in, they could do it. They've got mid-wave pushing. Instead, they're going to play it safe, like you were talking about, not wanting to bite off more than they can chew. They're just going to turn, go get Baron. That is up for them.
Yeah, I definitely, if there's one thing with Splinter Team tradition, I think they could have ended there, but it would have been tight. And I know Splinter definitely errs on the don't end too early, don't throw. So they're gonna settle for Baron here. Baron going down fast. No one that can contest this, obviously. And they're gonna probably walk towards Dragon if they can. We'll see if they can get there in time to contest. There will be members, but Splinter is zooming there. We do see teleport coming out of the Bestest one as well. I think they will get there in time to potentially catch Thrifty with his pants down here. Bestest does have an ult available, and he is going to be buying a lot of CC onto Thrifty. Bad boy coming in hot. Lights being turned out yet again. Thrifty Senpai gets the ult because he has to. But this is going to be yet another disaster for Tizzy and the Smash Brothers. And Tizzy with no one to protect her from that scary Tristana. Shy going to follow his carry to the depths of hell. Cax going down. And this feels like all she wrote.
Absolutely. You know, I asked about Tuesday's Tristana when we started this cast. I think I have my answer right here in front of me, just like we saw week 1. My fucking goodness. Just absolutely dominating in every situation that he's in, never getting caught. 9-0 and 8.
And he's playing aggressively so well too. He's not just playing the passive, like super hard to catch Tristana with tons of defensive jumps. Like, he is going in, executing members of the enemy team, like winning these fights single-handedly. And I mean, he is now 20-1 across 2 Tristana games. Absolutely massive. And I gotta give shout out to Bestest one here too, obviously. It has a very glamorous scoreline, but he's doing so much of the dirty work. Just perfect setting up on that fight. Great intuition to know to teleport in there early. Catches Thrifty, knows to immediately go hard to disrupt and set that fight up, and he is making so many plays in so many of these fights.
Absolutely. We see, and you know, we were a little bit curious exactly what the Gragas was going to look like in the mid lane, as that's kind of a out of left field pick, but working out so well for Bestus One here. Just being able to tank so much of the relatively non-existent damage that's coming out from the side of Tizzy and the Smash Bros. The Cassiopeia just not able to do a whole lot against the thick, juicy, beer-guggling body that is Gragas.
So 13,000 is the gold deficit here. No Barons available, no Dragons available. I don't think that High Expectations needs either of those things. They can just push these lanes into the base and try to close this out the easy way with the 2 waves of supers coming in.
We can see Tizzy and the Smash Bros trying to group up here, trying to get something out. They're able to get 30 with the Ash Arrow, but in comes the Nocturne.
Yeah, it doesn't even matter. The gold advantage is worth multiple extra bodies here. So much time being bought. Cax is going to die. Bad Boy probably going to die to the Chop Man here, but like if you're not killing the Tristana, literally nothing you're doing in these fights matters. And I think Direct the Camera is going to send us back here. The Tristana playing forward here. Flanks, CC, health being dropped. Tristana going in. Tuesday continues the snowball. Gonna try to jump over this with Master Splinter. He loves stealing kills from his teammates. Can he do it? Yes, he can.
He absolutely can.
And 10-0-9 on the Tristana. 8-0 and 11 on the Bestus One. Absolute masterclass. We said before this game how hard it is to bounce back after a long, intense loss like High Expectations just had. Well, clearly they decided to go the other direction with it. They're playing mad. They're playing like they want to dominate, like they know they can. And
this has looked completely effortless from the side of High Expectations. We see them just hitting R on cooldown and having them basically all be impactful. The amount of good Nocturne ults that we've had, the amount of good disruptive Gragas ults that we've had, the amount of good Tibbers that were able to secure them an early pressure in the bottom lane. What was Tizzy and the Smash Bros ever going to be able to do in this situation?
It's looking like nothing as Tizzy's going to die and her Smash Brothers are shortly behind her. Another chance to pad the KDAs coming through here for High Expectations. Master Splinter gonna see if he can get himself into that kill lead, but he's gonna go find the Chop Man. His 30 has been the sacrificial lamb for a lot of this game. Big damage coming out of the Bestus One here, as they want to pad these KDAs. They've earned that right. Mr. Tuesday 11-0-11, and Bestus One, he's not gonna die here, of course not. Bad Boy, thank you for putting the viewers out of their misery and going for the end, and that is gonna be G squared here for High Expectations.
Unfortunately, I think we saw it play out exactly what we were fearing, with the same situation playing out from last week's game, with Cax not being able to be in any capacity effective on the Wukong, Tizzy getting popped early and often, but 1-8-3 on the Ashe, just not a whole lot going for them, regardless of how much Cassiopeia and Garen were able to get ahead a little bit early. It just didn't matter.
And oh my god, look at this damage dealt graph. You can actually see it is Gragas laughing the field on damage delta champions here, which is not actually that surprising with how much he was able to throw his body directly into everything on the enemy team every single time. Just an absolute masterclass for High Expectations and a disaster class for Tizzy and the Smash Brothers.
19-0 and 24 combined between Bestus One and Tuesday. What a fucking clinic. And that's even ignoring the 9-3 and 12 out of West. All of them with almost the entire team, save 30, with 20 plus kill participation. They were just moving and working together constantly.
Yeah, well done, Tizzy and the Smash Brothers, but that means that is going to do it for this game. So we will be back